Hey guys, welcome back. Bolt Spider here, and today I'm going to be covering the Doremichord archetype and coming back to it. Now, I do have two different builds. I have the one with the Electromite in it, and which is the Doremichord Pendulum with the new Elegance, and then we have the Mythical Beast Doremichord build. And these two decks vary on how they work, and I really haven't played the deck since I made that video because I've been trying to theory craft on how to build it outside of other things as well. So let's do a test hand real quick on the Pendulum variant. As you can see, this is a very great opening hand. And of course I have the opponent on just for effects that trigger for the opponent's deck or the field or their hand. So first off, we're gonna go the Dragon Shrine into the lovely Dark Room. After that, we're going to activate 1-for-1. We are going to pitch the Black Fang Magician because we can get it back later. Summoning out our Cutia. Cutia's effect will get our level 2 or our level 1. But I think the level 2 is going to be better because we could do more plays with it. So now we have a 7 and 0 in our hand, and we're just going to Pendulum Call away Angela, and we're going to get Harmonizing and a lovely purple poison. After this, we are going to go straight up into Electromite. And Electromite's going to trigger, and it's going to place a lovely 1 scale. After that, what I'm going to do, we're going to activate Gate 0, then activate our Dreamia. After that, we're going to Pendulum Summon 4. Because you always want to Pendulum Summon 4 in a Pendulum deck. Or as much as you can. I'm still on the train that Electromite's still going to go up to 1. Because it is actually desperately needed. We're going to go into the Time Gazer Magician. Then after that, we can go all the way up into the Meteor Burst Dragon. But we have free range of what we can make, which is actually pretty good. So we're going to go up into that lovely Meteor Burst. The Meteor Burst is going to summon out the 0 Gate. After that, we're going to use the 0 Gate and the Meteor Burst to summon out the Absolute Dragon. After that, we're going to use Electromite, pop our scale to grab back Curia, and then we're going to draw a card off of that. After this, we are going to use the... Can we summon out Selene? That's my question. No, we cannot, because I don't have it. Selene would be very, very good right now. But that doesn't matter because we're going to use the Electromite, the Absolute, and our Dark Worm to summon out Apollosa and trigger the effect of Absolute 0. Then we're going to summon out Vortex Dragon for the negate. And now look at this. We can activate Normal Summon, Special Summon. And we are going to Special Summon, attributing off these two Pendulum monsters to summon out our lovely Curia. Then after that, I believe we're just going to activate our monster, and that's where the combo would end. Now it could definitely be better, like if we get this style of hand, but it's definitely interesting how this is going to function. We're going to go into our Dark Worm, then after Dark Worm we're going to get our Gate 0. Gate 0 is like one of our best starting pieces that we have along with Dark Worm because it's an instant scale up, and then we could just Pendulum Summon all of our hand. Now why would I Pendulum Summon all of our hand? Because we can't really do much outside of using the Absolute combo to get a negate on the board as soon as we can. Now we are in Apollosa range or Nibiru range, but that's fine in my opinion because we are just gonna plow right through, make the Electromite now, and then use the effect to place a card to our extra deck, which is most likely going to be a Cutia for later. After that, we're going to pop the Harmonizing, grab back the Chronograph, then we get the Droll and Chaining the Chronograph. And this is great because we get another material on the board, and we get a Pendulum Call, which doesn't really do much outside. We could summon a Dragon Fusion, but its effects are negated, but that is not what we need. We're going to go up into an absolute 0, and then we can easily make the Appaloosa using our 3 materials. Now this is the more or less mediocre version of the board, but it still does the same thing. And that's how the Magician variant works down. Now let's get into the other variant. Now I really haven't done that many test hands, so let's do a card by card. We have 3 Mythical Beast Master Cerebus, 3 Curia, then 1 of the Butia, 1 Supreme King Gate 0 because we're still running the Dark Worms, because Dark Worm is a very great card as a starter and an extender. It's actually both at the very, very beginning. Then we have double Jackal King to supply the Master Cerebus. We have 2 Angela, 3 Gracia, 3 Darkworm, 1 Zephyros, because Zephyros is great. If you can 1-for-1 or Foolish Burial it away to summon out a Cutia, or just to have it in the graveyard. Then we have 2 Fancia, 3 Dreamia, 3 Cutia, 1 1-for-1, 2 Dragon Shrine for the Darkworm, 1 Terraforming, 1 Foolish Burial, 1 Monster Reborn, because Monster Reborn's a very good card still, 1 Disparity, 3 Elegance, and then the 2 Harmonia. And then for the extra deck, it is a very standard extra deck with the 1 Vortex Dragon, 1 Absolute, 1 Underworld Goddess of the Closed World, 1 Access Code Talker, 1 Appaloosa, Boat of the Goddess, 1 Nightmare Unicorn and Phoenix and Cerebus, 1 Selene, 1 of each of the Elemental Charmer, 1 Ice Beam Masquerena to supply the Nightmare or the Underworld Goddess, and the Alamirage. Alamirage is used if you normal summon out your level 1 or your level 2. But most likely it is on the normal summon of the level 1. So you have a link point, so you could summon the Master Cerebus there off of the Jackal King, and then you could just link the 2 away into a Heat at the Fire Charmer. So let's do a test hand to see what we can get. And this is actually a very good test hand because first off we're going to do the Disparity. And this time we're going to do 6 so we could dig down by 6. And the 6 we're going to remove is going to be the Cerebus, the Asa area when the... So that's only 4. Now we need to figure out 2 other cards, and those 2 other cards are going to be very, very important on which ones we banish because we're going to need the Nightmare Phoenix for the combo. So if we're going first, it's most likely going to be the Saros, and the last card is going to be, I would have to say, the Alamirage. So we get to dig 6. They usually do it for 3, but I'm doing 6 for an example of why you should not do it, but you can also do it so you can get rewarded. And then after that, those go to the bottom, and we can get ourselves the scales, but I don't think I'm going to do that yet because we need to get that Master Cerebus out, and I would really wish I only did 3. But with that 6, it got us to our Cerebus, so we could go Cerebus, use, summon, and I should have banished something else outside of the Alamirage because Alamirage is actually very useful right now, which is fine because people do make mistakes. After that, we're going to normal summon a Cutia, and Cutia will trigger, and we get a search of our Curia. After that, we are going to activate our Scale 1. Then we're going to activate this to special summon this card. And that is actually very good because now we have access to a Selene with only 1 spell in. But I'm going to use the Doremichord to fill up our scale for the other side. So now we have both scales full, and then now we can actually do stuff. So I'm going to go off into a Selene. Selene's going to trigger, getting 4 spell counters. Now we don't have any spell casters in our graveyard, but that's going to be absolutely fine. And the only other card that we cannot Pendulum summon back are the Cerebus, and that is totally fine. And the other card we can't summon back looks like is our level 1, but all in all it is totally fine because we're going to be Pendulum summoning 3. Then after that we can go all the way up into our lovely Appaloosa, and typically this, but we needed another card, so we would have an extra monster, which was going to be the Jackal. Now, let's do one more test hand to see what we get. This is actually a very good hand, even though our Dark Worm is dead for searching, but we could still Foolish Barrel it to summon it back out to get a free monster. After that, we're going to activate our Cerberus, and then Cerberus is going to trigger, and we're going to search out a Jackal King. This is why the whole entire Mythical Beast engine is actually very good for any Pendulum deck, because you could go up into this, normal summon the Cutia, effective the Cutia, to get another scale, which is going to be our scale of 1. After that, we can link away both of our Cerberus and our Cutia for the immovable. After that, we're going to activate 0 and the Doremichord. So we have our scales. Then we're actually going to go up into the Slain, and we get 3 counters because it counts cards on the field and in the graveyard. Now, we can't really do much, so let's Pendulum Summon 3, because that's all we can really do right now. So 1, 2, and 3. Now, sadly, we can't summon a Link monster from the graveyard because it must be summoned in defense, but that's absolutely fine, because most of the time you're not getting the effect off that much. After this, we're going to go up into the Appaloosa for 2. And I wish I had a higher scale so we could summon everything else. And then after that, this is kind of like the general end board that you want. Just the Appaloosa protected by the Nightmare Phoenix, along with much more. And let's do one final test hand, and this is a perfect example of just doing 3. So we're just going to do 3, and the cards that we're going to get rid of are as followed. There are going to be the Cerberus, and from the looks of it, I'm going to get rid of Aria and Area, and we're going to get a full entire Pendulum scale, or a normal summon, or a Dragon Shrine. So the one that I'm going to grab is actually, I'm going to grab Elegance, because we do have another copy of Fancy in our hand, and we're going to add a Fancy to our extra deck, so we can place a low scale and the high scale. Who knew a 1-card Pendulum scale is actually very, very good. And then we're going to normal summon out our Fancy, activate the effect to put, I'm going to put Doremichord to the extra deck. And do we get any other effects? No, we do not. And we can only Pendulum summon 2, but that's okay. But I don't want to Pendulum Summon 2, so we're just going to reset. Now, this hand is a great hand because we can activate the Cerberus. You'll always want to do the Cerberus line. And I am actually... I could play both of these decks. This one takes a little more skill. The other one really doesn't. We're going to normal summon our Cutia, activate the effect, and we're going to search out a level 2 because level 2 is actually very, very good. Now, I wish I would have normal summoned it first before doing Jackal, but that's absolutely fine, as we can work around that. Because we have nothing to get the field spell. I might bump up the field spell to 3, because that will definitely help for sure. But after this point, I'm going to activate and send the level 7 in our hand to the extra deck, so we can place a scale of 1 and the scale of 8. And then after that, we are going to go into the Alsa. And since we have a monster in our Pendulum Zone, we're going to special summon our level 2. And we can only summon up to level 8, so we only get 2 Pendulum Summons, but I'm not done there. And this is where I'm going to go up into the Selene. And Selene's going to trigger, which is amazing. So now we can special summon 3 monsters from our extra deck. And again, I wish we had another extender. Or at least a field spell. Because that would definitely help, because we're going to end on the exact same board. Don't get me wrong, the board is actually still good, but it definitely could be improved upon. I think I'm misplaying somewhere, but I'm not too sure about that. This hand is definitely interesting, so let's just go with it. We're going to summon out the Cutia. Then we're going to get our lovely low scale. And this is where Alamirage comes in so much handy. So we're just going to activate Cerberus. Cerberus effect will trigger getting the Jackal King, and then we could use the Jackal King to summon out the Master Cerberus again. And this is where we just go into a Hita. So this is why the Link Charmers are actually very useful. So we're just going to activate our Elegance, putting either or to the extra deck because we don't have that field spell, which kind of is sad. But most of the time, I think I want to put this in there so we could get a 1 and an 8. So 1 and an 8, since we do have a scale, we could summon this. After that, we're going to special summon the Celine. And Celine gets her 3 counters. Now we can summon out... We can activate the effect because we have a Jackal King in hand to summon to a link point. And then this is where we can go up into an Appaloosa. Then after that, we're going to Pendulum summon for 3. And this is definitely better than how it was because this is what you want to kind of end on for turn 1. But yeah, this is actually definitely better with the Elegance, I would have to say, because it gives a full scale option or even half your scale option if needed, or if you're late in the game, that draw option. But most of the time you're not going to use the draw. But anyways, this deck's actually very good. Only card we need to fix the main clunkiness problem is the Electromite, which I did not test, but Electromite solves every Pendulum problem that there is. But we'll see if it will come off the list after the Remote Duel Invitational, which they did say that that European Remote Duel Qualifier Invitational is going to be using the current ban list, so there's going to be one after it. But anyways, I've been Bolt Spider. Hopefully you guys did enjoy this test hand duel for the Doremichord decks. I really like the Pendulum Magician version more, with Electromite and without. But anyways, I have been Bolt Spider. See you guys in the next video. And goodbye.